to really just make ends meet. So it's a little bit different when you kind of don't have much growing up and you always want to aspire to have your own stuff, right? So eventually I wanted a car, I wanted a home, I wanted to have things that everyone usually expected or had growing up, but I've never had, right? So when I finished school, my first job was really advertising sales, and it was at a company called Red Pages. It was a knockoff of Yellow Pages, but it was the first directory going to every single business and home, but of websites. And this was the day before internet existed. Well, Google kind of didn't take off yet. Computers were fairly slow and the internet was really slow. It was still dial-up and P3, P2. It took 5 minutes to boot up a computer. So imagine the speed, right? And therefore the directory was a great concept and idea. So I went out and sold it, right? Because I believed in it. I was like, look, Yellow Pages. And if Yellow Pages was around for 100 years, this is a great concept and idea. So I could really believe it to go out and sell ad space with the idea of business owners actually wanting to advertise and get good business from it, right? Because internet, I didn't know technology would advance so quickly, right? So kind of Google took off and replaced what now is Yellow Pages, right? So my background was sales and advertising. I did some affiliate online marketing, and I worked at Yellow Pages for 5 years. So I learned a ton from just real life business owners. And that's how I started this agency that I have right now.
So did you, I don't want to skip too much ahead, but did you just like leave, or the Yellow Pages? Like, what was the transition like?
So before I left, I was waiting to get a package. I didn't get a package, so I just gave my resignation. But I was there for 5 years, but the last 2 years, every meeting that I went to, and as you can, Google kind of was the place to be, right? Like users were, the behavior of customers who were looking for business owners were no longer going to the Yellow Pages directory. So whoever was spending ads at the Yellow Pages were either disappointed, spending too much and not getting good ROI, return on investment. So what was happening was every meeting I had was a battle with the business owners, right? I was a true believer of Yellow Pages because, I was representing them, but the honesty from business owners was very transparent, right? They were just saying, spending more than ever, getting less leads than ever. And I needed to figure out where people were going. And I knew people were moving towards digital. And me being a younger, person, I was going on Google myself, right? Like, it was not rocket science. It's faster, real time, easy to use. And therefore, I knew there was a need there. There was a gap, right? And if there were other agencies, of course, out there, but my expertise was sales and marketing. And I knew there was a batch of clientele that needed to pivot and move away from traditional ads to now digital. And I wanted to mold that to my own company. So early days, I didn't approach my old clients yet. I wanted to see if I had like what it took to sell it first off, and then actually get good results, right? So before I, went to some of my old clients, first thing I did was, again, I bootstrapped everything. So I left Yellow Pages. It was a decent, high-paying job. Like, I was doing fairly well.
How much you talking? Like 6 figures?
Yeah, 6 figures. I left that. Yeah. And then I actually was, President's Gold Circle. I was going on the trips. I was doing fairly well there, right?
Yeah. I also read that you were top 2% sales in the company as well too, eh?
Yeah. So if there were 2,000 reps, if you think about it, there's a small amount that would go to these trips, right? And I got to meet really good, skilled sales reps, veterans in the industry, 10, 20, 30 years of sales experience, right? And that's what I took from that company more than anything, the process and the people and the relationships I built from clients I met daily, right? And then, so when I left, first thing I did was, again, it was situational. It was timely because I recently got married. I had to purchase a home. with my wife, and I left Yellow Pages, right? A decent job. So I had to figure out what I wanted to do. I was either going to go back to work mode, work for another company and do what I was doing for many years, or try something different, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my wife was fully supportive of me. And I think that was the biggest thing, right? She had a stable income.
That's big.
Gunshot.
That's
Shout out to the
huge.
wife. How you know that? So
Support. Damn.
So you left your job and
Yes.
bought a house.
Yes.
And your wife was like, all right, I support you same way.
Go start a business.
Well, because, you know, she saw like I was not someone that wasn't hardworking, right? She saw something in me, obviously, to go pursue something, right? And passionate. Like you can either get a decent job and continue it, or you take a risk, right? And you don't know what's going to happen, but you're there for you or not. And we didn't have kids then, right? So for me, it was like, I got to now prove myself to show not just my wife, but everyone that thought I was crazy to leave a job, right? That was decent.
Yeah.
So, you know, for me, my thing was I bootstrapped everything at the beginning. Since at the beginning, I didn't have a laptop or a computer. I pretty much had my phone, right? You know, smartphone at that time. And I went to business owners because I was sales, like 10 plus years and some good, you know, sales skills, right, behind me. People believed me. They trusted me. And I basically went in with my phone and said, look, here on Google, here's your major competitors. Would you like to be on that first page? Give me a couple $1,000s up front, and I'm going to work on that campaign for you, right? So I went out there and sold. And I kept selling. And when I got like 10 clients or so, I now had to figure out how the hell I'm going to get them ranking, because I had no SEO knowledge and experience, right? No tech background. All I had was sales and marketing. So now my reputation was aligned, right? So now I had to figure out how to rank them. And therefore, that was the hardest thing, right? To figure that out. So I was very, you know, gung-ho on learning, right? I'm always reading and listening, and you know, all throughout my sales journey, I was listening to Zig Ziglar's, Brian Tracy's, every tape in terms of sales, right? Dan Kennedy. It's all about like the best leaders in sales. And I was also learning from people in the industry, like at Yellow Pages and at my peers, right? And I wanted to be the best, right? Or one of the best, and make sure that I feel confident enough to sell anything, right? So now I had to feel confident to sell SEO and then deliver on it. So I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but now I had to figure out what I needed to do to rank a website. So that was hard, right? Because it was like a lot of reading, a lot of blogs, a lot of videos, and a lot of mistakes. And it took me years upon years to understand what really matters, what really moves the needles, and a lot of testing and a lot of mistakes from trial and error, and a lot of, you know, I was fortunate to be honest with all my new clients and let them in on my price point's lower because I'm new. But in a couple of years, my price point will be double or triple. Are you in? Right? That was my pitch. Right? Which is true, because I had a commitment to myself to make sure I delivered on my promise. Right? So.
And how big is your business now? And the second question is, what kind of businesses do you work with? What scale of level are these businesses at?
So right now we have 20 plus staff, and we're a full service agency, right? So we work with professional service type businesses, like the dentists, the lawyers, the plumbers, trades, professionals, because I realized what we're all about. We do a really good job for service-based type industries versus product-based, right? And we really focus on regional, localized, because we want to help them dominate. And usually business owners in a local community, all they care about is serving their local community anyways. Once they have enough exposure and enough customers, they're happy, right? And if I'm able to attract more of them, of their ideal tribe locally, because that's who their radius is anyways, that's all they care about, right? And it's enough for them to survive and make an impact. So I kind of refine my system process and learn by making a lot of mistakes. And right now we not only service clients in Canada, but US, Australia, and UK. So we're, getting some exposure and we want to do good, right? Like I've been very fortunate and honest, but very transparent throughout the entire process, right? So I've been running this SEO agency for 7 years, and we're a full service agency. We don't just specialize on content or conversion copy or, funnels. We do everything from reputation management, link building, development work, on page and off page, you name it, anything to do with SEO, that's what we do.
Amazing.
All right, so let's get into SEO and like where we can really dive deep and give a lot of value to our audience. So where should we start? What are some misconceptions of SEO?
Go
ahead.
Yeah, everyone thinks SEO is, gonna make you the millions of dollars because you're on the first page of Google. My first thing I tell people is usually I work with businesses that actually know how to run a business in the first place, because I cannot help them, even though I rank them well, run a really good business. That means, how do you handle your phone calls? What's your intake? What's your process like? And do you take care of your customers to the same level of, like you and me, right? You need to understand how to run a business. Service level, product, what's your competitive analysis, unique selling proposition, what's your reviews and reputation like all those other fundamental things need to be in order before I help any company. And people think I'm a new business, I know how to run a business, and once I rank, it's gonna be game over for everyone else. Good luck, right? It takes years to understand how to run a good business. So that's the first misconception. SEO can help you elevate your real business, but not replace a business owner that doesn't know how to run a business, if that makes sense.
Totally makes sense.
Totally makes sense. It's such a big gem, man. Oh man, I have friends that come to me a lot, and it's like, yo, get me on Facebook, give me ads, let's get that traffic going. And we said, get your business right first. What's your business plan like? Get your foot in the door of running your business first before you come to anybody to pay for ads. You know what I'm saying? Because thing is too is that I've worked with clients as well where you give them the traffic and then they drop the ball, So yeah, that's such a good point, man.
So another thing I want to mention, sorry. So regarding that point, if people know how to run a business, they've been in it for 1-3 years, they already have a profile of their ideal customer, right? That persona, that avatar. Once you have that avatar, that's paying customer, by the way, someone that you want to attract more of, profile them, get to really know them, sit down for coffee and ask them a bunch of questions. Understand all their likes, dislikes, personality, traits, everything, profile them. That's your avatar that you want to attract more of. Until you know that avatar, it's very difficult to run any form of ad campaign, SEO campaign, digital marketing, or even print traditional marketing, because you don't know where to advertise, who to advertise to, and who do you want to attract.
1,000%. You should be able to write a page out of their diary.
Exactly.
Something like that. So now for this business, right, that's been in business 1 to 2 years, what would you say are some of the things they can start with getting their SEO correct?
So SEO, there's a lot of factors, right? My suggestion is build a website, but personalize it, make it your own, and let people in on your story, right? Because say a dentist or a lawyer, there's hundreds, if not thousands of them. And we live in Toronto, so the hyper competitive nature of it. So what makes you unique? You have your own story. Let people in on it. Your about us, your homepage. What makes you unique enough for them to even read what you have to offer and then convert to actual lead, right? So you need something compelling, but I would say even micro niche it so that people, you don't want to go after a broad range of everyone. You just need to get good quality, your tribe type of people, right? And then keep producing your content, but compelling content, in-depth, well-researched, positioning yourself as a leader and expert. So you need to know what the heck your service is or product is, right? Or else why would someone want to pay for your service, right? Or product? So you need to at least position yourself as an expert. So keep producing and keep unique, like personalized as much as possible, and make sure your website is functional, right? Like think about you going to a website, what do you look at? Maybe nice images, fast load speed, secure website, things that you expect today should be expected on your website as well.
A lot of people talk about keyword research, right?
Yes, yes.
And this is also like my personal like side of things. I also want to pick your brain at is when you're doing keyword research, you're stuck in just what your business is. So for example, let's say it's hustle over everything. We'll know like, okay, hustle, stories, entrepreneurship, but there's also like an element of depth. You just don't want to go wider, right? Someone might say hustle something, but what people are actually typing is hustlers stories, right? You got to like find these words that people are actually searching for in that same realm. What is the method of actually going deeper in your keyword research to actually get the most out of your SEO?
Keyword research is very pivotal during the early stages of building a new website or SEO campaign. First off, you need to obviously know what you're trying to dominate for as a service or product offering, right? Okay. Then you probably need to know who your major competitors are and do some analysis on what keywords they're ranking for and what their service and products are. And then there's a lot of tools and software. This is where tools and softwares actually make sense to utilize, right? So we use keywordtool.io. It's a paid tool. There's also a lot of different tools. SEMrush has tools. Google AdWords Planner has tools. Google Trends has tools. Even when you type in the auto suggest, right, on Google, there's different keywords that you can use, right? So all these are good tools. The challenge is how much volume do they actually get, right? How many of these keywords actually get some traffic to make a difference? Because you don't want to write like a 2,000 word blog when only 5 people a year are searching for that term, right? So you need to ensure that you're embedding variation, semantic keywords, different ways to get a variety of that term that you're trying to dominate for, so that you hit as many people and you cast a bigger net to prospects, if that makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
Definitely.
Also, you can use incognito tab when you're doing that. Just for the listeners, if you're trying to like do a little keyword research, always put in the incognito tab, whether it be YouTube or Google, so then their algorithm is acting fresh and not just specific to you, right?
Yeah, so cater towards your personalization, right? So there's a lot of cookies, and Google is storing every transaction, behavior, keyword that you're searching, and every result will be catered towards your previous search results, right?
Yeah. How long does it take for your website to be recognized as a trustworthy website by Google?
So authority is something that we always work on for an SEO campaign. And ultimately, that's what you're after, right? Being the trusted source so that your users will eventually click on your site, right? So what everyone trusts is Google's first page, because they believe Google vetted all these websites to then have you on that first page. So you have to understand what your users are really wanting in terms of content and position yourself as that trusted resource. So I've seen clients rank for, hyper competitive or non-competitive keywords in months, but I also seen them rank in years, right? Depending on how competitive the landscape is, right? So dentist in Toronto is hyper competitive, right? So if you're a brand new website and another dentist has been doing SEO for 10 years, what's the chance that you're going to rank within a couple months, if not even a year or two, right? Unless you have a huge amount of budget. But even when that is the case, it's all natural traffic too. You need to ensure that everything you're doing is in the realm of what all your major competitors have done to get to where they are, right? Because any peaks and valleys or anything that's out of whack, Google recognize it and think it's spamish, right? And you don't want to be flagged from Google because that's where you want to be ultimately.
100%. So then in that case, right, let's say I'm a dentist, I like this dentist example, and I want to start ranking. Let's say I opened up a new dentist practitioner or practice, and I'm like, all right, ready to roll. Would the first thing be to buy ads then and have a PPC campaign, seeing that you haven't done the work to rank, or would your suggestion be there?
So I'm a true believer of SEO only. That's why I focus on SEO. However, it all depends, right? Like if you're a brand new office, you don't even know that avatar, right, of your ideal customer.
Okay.
So you may want to play with ads on Facebook, Instagram, Google to start getting leads to see which keywords rank and type of profile that you're attracting. But for SEO, my take would be hyper localized, go after long tail keywords so that you get traffic and results with a high conversion rate before you go after broader term keywords that are more competitive. Mm-hmm. So go after the low hanging fruit, get some conversion so that you feel like there's momentum where you're paying for a campaign and you're getting results before you go heavier, right? If that makes sense.
You also like break down long tail keywords and broad keywords just for context so people actually understand? Yeah.
So for instance, a long tail keyword would be teeth cleaning in Rosedale, Toronto.
Okay.
Right? So that's 4 or 5 characters versus Toronto dentist, broad term. Mm-hmm. Right? Everyone's going after that broad term keyword, but if you go after a service within your dentist realm, it's a lot easier to rank, less competition, and you're hyper localized. So it's a lot easier, right?
Okay. Got it.
Got you. All right. So then just to play that out, you'd rank, like you said, Rosedale, dentist. And even that though, with the competition, it could still be super competitive. I guess your thing would be to have like 1,000 keywords of different, actually, my apologies, a long list of long tail keywords, and then try to play on each long tail keyword and just have different like articles for those long tail keywords. Is that what you're saying? Maybe I missed it.
So for instance, we mentioned teeth cleaning, Rosedale, Toronto, right? Yeah. So anything related to that specific teeth cleaning keyword, you want all the variations within teeth cleaning, right? And then put it in one blog or article or service page. And that would allow you to at least get recognized as someone that actually offers teeth cleaning and does it really well in a local community, or even a neighborhood, like an intersection, because as you know, dentists, there could be 5 dentists in Young and Egg, or even 20, right? Like,
yeah, so exactly.
You have to like hyper localize, right? In big markets like Toronto. But if you're in a smaller market like Sarnia, for instance, like there might be only 5 dentists, right? So you can go after a whole city.
Got it. Gotcha. So now, why would you use Instagram and Facebook ads? Tell me about like your thinking there. Is it for the avatar building? I'd love to get your insight.
Yeah. So when you're starting off and you don't know that ideal customer, right? And maybe you don't even have much brand awareness yet, I would say play with ads, right? And I always tell people, whatever medium works, continue doing it. Just make sure you're tracking everything and making sure that not just leads, but quality of leads. And then lifetime value of the customer, right? Because not just that acquiring that new customer, it's the lifetime value. How many of those customers were referred from that customer you got from that lead that you got, right? So there's so much more to it. And I learned this at Yellow Pages, right? Like it's all about cost per acquisition, cost per lead, cost per sale, but it's the lifetime value as well.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Oh, you about to say something now? Okay.
I saw you.
Get into like citation building. Like, citation building is something that you do. What is it, and how can people start implementing citation building in their websites?
So citation building is a pretty straightforward submitting your information, NAP information, into directories. And it's free, and usually it's a no-follow link. So you don't get much juice coming from these citations. However, it's a signal from Google to recognize that you're legitimate. So the more places you put your information, the better it is for Google to recognize that you're an actual business. So a citation is, say, Yellow Pages or Yelp or Facebook, and you submit your business information on those directories. And it's usually free, unless you're doing a paid ad there on those directories. That's where you pay, right? Like there's no need to pay if it's just a free listing. So that's where citation building is. Like you can have hundreds of citations for your business, right? And maybe you may get 1 or 2 referral traffic from those other directories who are seeking dentists out, right? Or your service or product out in the local community.
Got you. Interesting. So now, one thing I want to talk about as well is meta descriptions. I hear this all the time, and everyone talks about meta descriptions. When I was first building my blog, everyone was saying, you gotta get your meta descriptions right, gotta get your images right, your alt text. You know, can you break down what that is for our audience and how they can leverage that to drive more traffic to their websites?
Yeah, so meta tagging is, you know, it's easier for Google to recognize what's on that page, right? If you have a WordPress site, usually it's a free plugin. You can download Yoast or All-in-One SEO, and it gives you a step-by-step, you know, here is how many characters you have for your title tags, right? Here is how many characters for your description, and make sure each landing page that you're optimizing for title, description, alt image tag, H1 tags, or whatever it is, it's relevant to the service or product that you're offering. And it's relevant for the user, so it's easy for them to recognize, because ultimately when you're on that first page of Google, that's the title tag and that's the description that appears, right? And you're trying to get your users to click on your website as opposed to the 10 or 15 other listings on that first page. So it's all about always trying to convert with a call to action, right? Get people to who is searching and matching that query that someone's typing in. It's usually a question. It matches one of the queries on that first page, and hopefully it's yours. So usually it's an exact match or as close to, so that when they click on it, hopefully they convert afterwards, right? Because usually people will go on 3 to 5 websites, and they'll either like or don't like you. And hopefully out of the 3 or 5, they're going to fill out the form or call you.
Got it. So now, let's have a random question, actually, because I just wanted to play with your brain, I guess. And and feel free to chime in as well, bro. If you got $1,000 just to start a business, and you had to invest it in an e-commerce website, right? Or should I say you're starting an e-commerce website, and you had $1,000 for marketing, how would you maneuver that $1,000?
First off, you need a website. So Wix or Shopify, build a site. So that's maybe $100, right? And then ads, right? Because you don't know, unless you have a list already of prospects, right? You can do an email funnel campaign. You can try to attract based on, I would actually go out and give away my product. If I had $1,000, I would do $1,000 giveaway on all your products, right? Give it to an influencer and just offer it for free. With that, some of the stuff that you're gifting out, then you would then put a like marketing piece or like posts on social to let people in on how they reacted, like testimonials or case studies. Because once you gift it, hopefully they will give you a case study or testimonial, right? That's a third party review. And that's how I would scale and grow business, because the more you give, you're not expecting anything in return, but it's karma, right? Eventually something will come back in return.
Yeah, like $1,000 to drop on a business, I mean, I'll also like let me challenge that, John, right? For example, before Alex joined on Hustle Over Everything, I started a Shopify website, dropped the money on it, went into ads, right? Really promoting the website, the merchandise that actually went into it. And Alex, I used to have a conversation with him, like, we'll go out for breakfast and I'll be like, hey, bro, like, listen, this is the situation I'm in. This is the predicament that I'm in. I'm spending money on ads, promoting the website. People are coming on the website. They're not converting. Like, and this time we're selling like the Hustle Over Everything branded merchandise and etc. But it never happened. And one of the debates that I've also had with myself is like building the audience and as well spending money on ads like right away. It's like, so you're advising like it's okay to throw money at a cold audience first, or
I would say give it away to influencers in hopes that they will amplify your message. Because if they love your product, they're going to wear it and post it. And they could have thousands of people that have money that will buy it because they're like, I love what he has on. And he looks good on it. And he says it's a great product. Boom. That's where I'm going to buy my next product. Right? It's all about influencers, especially for a product play, right? I'm really service related. And that's why I do SEO. But with products, I mean, I have a social media manager that grew her audience to like 250,000 or 500,000 followers, right? So she knows her stuff. And that's where I get my advice from. If someone that knows her stuff, right? From Kickstarter to Bootstrap to growing to 7-figure business, right? Like someone that actually knows what they're doing.
Okay.
That's interesting. I mean, we had Yara on the podcast and she was saying that she started off with ads as well. But she was wasting money a lot at first and kind of got the foot in the door and she started on Kickstarter first, so I think Kickstarter is a very interesting way to go about it as well. But one thing we talked about between Owen and I was getting like having ads as the tip of the iceberg, but then having like a deeper iceberg. That picture of the iceberg and the little tip above water, and then there's that big ass glacier below water.
Yeah.
Not my advice was to more so focus on the glacier under the water. Thank you for watching that video. To see the next video, click right over here, and to subscribe, click right over here. Peace.